Hello, everyone, and welcome to Cyberwatch on CXO TV. Today, we are excited to be joined by Abbas Kudrati, a well-respected figure in cybersecurity, currently serving as a Regional Chief Security, Risk and Compliance Advisor for Asia at Microsoft. With over 2 decades of experience, Abbas brings a wealth of knowledge and a unique perspective on the ever-evolving field of cybersecurity. Welcome, Abbas.
Thank you very much for having me here. Glad to be here.
My pleasure. So, to start, could you share some highlights from your career journey in the cybersecurity and risk management, and what experiences or achievements have been most pivotal in shaping your approach to security?
Well, it's been a long journey. I started almost 25 years back. At that time, we never had anything called cybersecurity. It used to be IT, and from IT, it became the IT security, where we started focusing on network side of it mostly. From network security, it became information security after we started seeing more internet being used in the business. And information became very critical, as defined by ISO 27001 and BS 7799 in previous precedent of 27001. And later on, when we started adopting the cloud as a technology, and things started getting connected at a hyper scale, not only your information as well as your data connected to the internet, but you are starting connecting like IoT, so smart devices, SaaS-based applications. That's what triggered the word called cybersecurity, where the focus was more on connected environment. So many people ask me, what is the definition of cybersecurity? I always say, stay protected while connected. That's the key difference between the information security and cybersecurity. And of course, it's a debatable in terms of, is cybersecurity bigger than information security? Well, as a matter of fact, cybersecurity, in my opinion, is a subset of information security, because information security covers more detail about your data, your spoken, the words which you speak, that also considered as spoken as a information, your paper document, your tangible, intangible assets as well. And cyber is a part of the rhyme of security. So been through that journey all the way from help desk to system administrator to network security to becoming an IT auditor, focusing on risk management framework such as 27001 and information security framework such as 27005 for the risk management part of it, and 31000 framework. And then later on, we came into the cloud side and became the advisor of Microsoft as a chief cybersecurity advisor for Microsoft Asia region, helping our customers in that journey. So I would say I've been blessed to work all the way when the internet was just started back in those days in India, to where what we see now, AI is taking over the world, I would say. So have a very, very satisfying journey so far, I would say, and still there is a long way to go, I believe.
Yeah, so it's fantastic journey. Let's talk about your leadership lessons in security and compliance, especially having such a long career. So you have held several leadership roles in security and compliance. What key lessons or philosophy have guided your growth and success in this field?
Yeah, so I personally believe in the philosophy of a growth mindset. Growth mindset is not something about that, oh, this is not my role, I'm not going to do it, or this is not the topic which I don't know and I will not focus on. So think about going out of the box, have a mindset of continuous learning, because we are in a field where technology is changing every day. The threats are evolving every second and every minute and every hour. So if you are not trying to keep up with what's happening around you, you are going to be a lot of steps behind the attackers who are now trying to attack your environment. So here we really need to be up to date in terms of our learning. Having a growth mindset is another way. Setting aside a time for your personal learning out of your busy schedule. That's personally, I believe that I focus myself at least 4 hours in a week, minimum 4 hours a week, to read, update myself what's happening around in the industry, in the risk management, in the compliance world, in the cyber threat world. That's what it is keeping me up to date in terms of what are the various threats I see in the region. It could be within India, within Asia Pacific region, within Australia, So follow those things in terms of learning opportunity. and getting out of the box, getting out of your comfort zone, I would say, rather out of the box, because we feel, okay, I was born in India. I lived in Mumbai, Pune, Hyderabad. Okay, I'll just focus on that. I'm very comfortable in that space. Opportunities are endless around the world. To be honest, if I was in India, I would have never been in Microsoft, because there's such a cutthroat competition. Because I moved in Australia, and there are a lot of opportunities in this country. And of course, you also need to be smart and eligible and passionate about what you do. You get opportunities to work in the companies like Microsoft. So I always feel that being there on the right time in the right place, getting out of the comfort zone, having a growth mindset, and having a ever learning attitude, and never give up in a way that sets you apart from many others in the industry who are there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, talking about the threats, cybersecurity threat seems to be evolving at an unprecedented pace. What would you say are the top cybersecurity threats facing organizations in today's digital landscape?
Yes, as earlier I said, we are living in a hyperscale world where everything is connected. Our smartphone to our watches, and even now the glasses what we wear are connected as well on the internet. So data is everywhere. So we need to think about, what is my crown jewel? What can I lose in my company, which could get an immense benefit for an attacker? So of course, answer is always data, but what data? Where is the data located? So identify the location of the data. It could be on your SaaS platform, the application which are running on the internet, could be on your handheld device, could be on your laptop. So identifying your crown jewel, and then starting to create a control framework around that to protect it. Because attackers are now leveraging various types of technique and procedure, as we call it, TTP, for targeting organizations, starting all the way from phishing. Very, very simple. 300% increase of phishing attack is what we have seen as a Microsoft when we analyze our 48 trillion signals on a daily basis. We are seeing ransomware increasing almost 500%. Or I would say 2.5% increase in a ransomware attack, what we have seen in compared to last year. So ransomware is still a number one threat, but the good news is people are being more aware about the ransomware. So impact is lower, but the attacks are continuously increasing. Phishing-based attack as well as identity-based attack. We are constantly seeing where attackers are using password spray as a technique to target individuals, to target their account, and once they get held of that account, they can then pivot within the on-premises environment, and then pivot themselves to the cloud environment and collect the data. So phishing, malware, ransomware, distributed denial of service attack. This is still common. And this is one of the oldest way of attacking customer, and which is still there. We are still seeing attackers are leveraging these kind of scenario to target customer. And on top of it, the new hype and the new buzzword, the deepfake, the AI, voice cloning, video cloning. Number of examples we are seeing on a daily basis where attackers are leveraging your voice samples and video sample to clone your voice and video, and send those messages to your loved one within the family or in the company as a CEO, CFO kind of a person impersonation, and taking advantage of that technology to lure the individuals to either make the payment or collect the data out of them.
Yeah. So you meant to say the threats are getting sophisticated day by day and has created new vulnerabilities. So there's an extra protection required.
Yes.
Yeah. So, that means we have to prioritize our security and compliance. So, and with compliance becoming increasingly complex, so how should organizations prioritize their security and compliance efforts effectively?
Yeah, so it's a very interesting set of I would say challenge, whether shall I focus on compliance or shall I focus on security? I always ask a question, and that's the one question I want to ask. You can answer if you like it. If I give you two choice, getting hacked or being non-compliant for an audit or regulatory, which one will you pick?
Yeah, of course, we'll like to protect ourselves instead of.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Right. So if you ask any CISO, they would always pick that I want to focus on not getting hacked. And as a matter of fact, if you are focusing on security, and making sure the controls are in place and you're doing the basic hygiene check in your environment, like having an MFA, up-to-date patch management, protecting and classifying the data, focusing on end-user security awareness and whatnot, you will meet almost 90 to 95% of the compliance requirement. Pick any compliance requirement in the world. All compliance requirement, if you pick up ISO 27001, PCI DSS, HIPAA, NIST CSF, NIST 853, you pick any one of them. They all talk about the basic things you need to do in your environment to better secure the environment, starting with multi-factor authentication, patching, application whitelisting, end user awareness, data classification and identification and classification, protecting the data. They all talk about that. So I would say focus on the most pivotal thing. Once you have done your initial threat landscape assessment or a cybersecurity risk assessment, you know what are the top risks in your company, and make sure you apply the controls to mitigate those risks. Automatically, you will be able to comply with most of the top security or a compliance requirement around the world. So focus on a basic hygiene check and basic security. Compliance is easily achievable if you're doing the right security culture in your environment.
So I was asking that recently or maybe in past, have you come across any such incident of cybersecurity you would like to discuss, which could be a learning for others?
Yeah, absolutely. The most recent one is on the deepfake. You must have seen how an attacker, without saying the name of a company in India, an attacker had voice clone and the video clone of the CEO and send that message to the CFO, asking them to make a payment. So that's the most recent one. Other than that, there are very well-known incidents we have seen. One of the most recent one, not too recent one, but was very well aware and people know about it, is a Colonial Pipeline attack. In the Colonial Pipeline attack in the US, where all the fuel stations were down because of Colonial Pipeline company was targeted by a human-operated ransomware. And that happened because of the few basic things, such as not having the up-to-date patch on the VPN environment, not having a multi-factor authentication on the end user, not having a well up-to-date EDR or antivirus, anti-malware on the endpoint, not having a right monitoring control or security operations center monitoring within the SIM, all the alert. Some of the very basic things were missed out in that, which was a huge lesson learned. Another biggest incident we all are aware about, SolarWinds attack. What happened with the SolarWinds software which everyone was using? It was a supply chain attack. So not doing a proper hygiene on a supply chain third-party risk assessment, these kind of things could be avoided, and making sure that there is a process in place on how you can detect and mitigate these kind of attacks, what we see. The numbers are, examples are many, but I would highlight the basic ones. Human-operated ransomware, as I said, it is increasing. So those kind of incidents we are seeing on a daily basis. AI-based attacks such as deepfake, voice and video, and the phishing emails, which are being targeted over the companies, which are generated using AI, which is so perfect that it is so hard to detect by an individual to identify whether it is a real email or a phish email.
Yeah. So you hold a unique perspective of the role of a customer security officer. Could you share your views on why this role is important and how it benefits organizations?
Yeah, absolutely. Customer security officer, or you can call it a chief security advisor, or you can also call it a field CISO. So this role is specifically designed within Microsoft for those who come from a chief information security background. So our team are all ex-CISOs in various countries. We hired them to help our customer CISO. So there are hundreds of customers we have around within every countries, and our job is to go and help our customers CISO to make sure they are leveraging the Microsoft technology which we have sold them to get the best value of what they have, where they have it. One another job is to making sure we keep them up to date of about various threats happening around the world, and also keep making sure that they are implementing the right technology which they have purchased from us. It's one another area, and helping them in implementing the strategy which they are defining, either giving them a feedback or aligning their strategy with the Microsoft strategy as well, so they can get the best value of their investment. So you can say we are advisor to the customer CISO. That's the main idea of our role. It's not a sales role. Our job is to make our CISO, our customer CISO, successful in their job and keeping them up to date about what's happening around the world in terms of threat, in terms of update, patches, zero-day attack, incidents, and anything new Microsoft is investing in technologies such as cybersecurity, such as AI and whatnot. So we keep them up to date in that space.
Yeah, especially in today's dynamics, customer success is your success.
Yes, absolutely. So we are a trusted partner of our trusted security partner of our customers.
Ah, that's great. So what best practices would you recommend for building a robust risk management framework that aligns with global standards?
Yeah. So see, when you say global standards, it also depends upon individual companies' appetite, their industry they work in, their geographical location as well. For example, if you talk about European countries, then of course they need to consider GDPR as one of the requirement in their strategy. If you talk about banking sector in Australia, then PCI DSS or APRA CPS 234 they have to consider while they're building up their strategy. Or generally speaking, the two most favorable strategy when they are working on the customers are leveraging is NIST cybersecurity framework and as well as 27001 for the process improvement in the information security. So framework could be any based on their culture, based on their industry, based on their geographical location. But the main thing is I always give an advice in when you are building up your new security strategy or defining or updating the existing security strategy. If you are a new CISO to a company, always align your security strategy with a business strategy. You have to remember that at the end of the day, security should be an enabler of the business, not a blocker. If you are not aligned with what business wants to achieve, you are going in a two separate direction and you will never be successful in your role. So understand the business, what business you are working for. Don't just focus on the technical things and jargon such as I need to implement zero trust or I need to implement the new shiny box of AI and generative AI which is in the market. No. Make sure what is business trying to achieve it. Do they have a plan of expansion? Are they planning to buy or merge any other company? Are they planning to expand their business in some other country? Or are the geopolitical situation or the country law being changed? Such as privacy law coming in. If you have a fair understanding of that, and if what this kind of requirement would impact the business, you need to then align your strategy with that. In focus of standards such as NIST CSF 27001, APRA, GDPR, whatever you want to take it. So understand the business, align with the business, and then create your strategy, I would say.
Wow, that's quite insightful. So I think otherwise people usually, whether it's the CIOs or the CISOs, usually it's more about, those jargons only. That, okay, this is the new technology, this is the new thing coming up, and everyone wants to follow that. So yeah, this makes a lot of sense. So when you're talking about, things, how it is in Australia, if you compare it with, globally with the other regions, how are things, when it comes to cybersecurity landscape different in Australia?
Well, cyber threat landscape does differ from country to country. For example, if I look at Asia perspective, within Asia, Australia is number 4 in the most targeted country, most attacked country. The number 1 is Taiwan, as we speak. Now, followed by China, or I think India is number 4 or number 6, I believe. I don't remember correctly. And this ranking does change because of certain things. For example, geopolitical situation. For example, a different threat actor. Well, to give you a simple example, take about the example of Israel and as a country, right? Before the war of Israel and Palestine, only 10% attacks from Iran were targeted on Israel. However, after the Israel and Palestine war started, the attack on Israel has increased to 60% from only one country such as Iran. So sometimes this kind of geopolitical situations and new law, new policy also impacted. Another example I would give you is election. when there are many nation threat actors who are trying to interfere into the election process. So, for example, if the election coming, as a hypothetical example, election coming next month in India, all of a sudden you will see an increased attack on Indian economy and Indian government sector specifically, and IT industry specifically from attackers who want to interfere into that election process. So it changes time to time. As I said, Taiwan number one, China number two, and Australia is number four, I believe, this year in terms of most attacked country. So it differs.
Okay, so that was quite interesting. So it totally depends on the geopolitical conditions. All right. Okay, so let's talk about future trends in cybersecurity and compliance. Looking into the future, what emerging trends do you see shaping the cybersecurity and compliance landscape over the next decade?
So a decade is too long to talk about, but let's talk short term, maybe 2-3 years or 5 years. We don't know what's going to happen in decade, because 10 years back, if you ask me what's going to be there, I have never imagined that Gen AI is going to take the world. Generative AI is going to be shaping the world. This has all happened in just the last 5 years, or last 3 years, I would say. It's 2022, we see spike of Gen AI. So if you ask me what's going to happen in next 2 or 3 years, well, everyone has to focus on 2 or 3 areas. First one is focus on your identity security. That's going to be one of the trend, because everything is now connected to identity, human and non-human. So that we need to focus on that. Second thing is data governance, because everything is targeted against the data, and we are creating data at, I don't even know, 100x times than what we used to create 10 years back. So when you ask me 10 years back, I don't know how much data we will be creating after 10 years as well. So having a huge focus on data governance, data identification, data classification, data archival, data policy, and all that. Third thing, watch out for the space how Gen AI is going to impact your business. We are seeing a lot more emerging technologies adapting generative AI. The work is getting easier, but however, everyone is concerned about data. Again, if the data quality is not good, the large language model and Gen AI which you are using, it may give you the garbage and output. As we say, garbage in, garbage out. So data quality again comes into play. So watch out the space of Gen AI, how it is going to impact your business and how it's going to impact the technology, things what you're using it. Fourth thing I would say, because we talk about compliance and all that, watch out the privacy requirement. We are going to see a huge pressure among all the organization on applying the right privacy principles. More and more countries are now coming up with the new privacy legislation. In India, we see DPDP Act coming in. Australia, privacy law. Bangkok coming up with their own privacy requirements. Sri Lanka coming up with their privacy policy as well. So more and more countries are going to focus on the privacy of the customer data, employee data. Again, coming back to the same three things of data governance and Gen AI. So you don't know what Gen AI is reading the data. So that's why this privacy and regulatory requirement we are going to see a huge increased pressure on them. So customer will be required to align and meet the requirement of privacy, consent management in DPDP Act, what you see in India and many other. So privacy, data, identity, always threat monitoring without saying on that, and watch out the space of Gen AI, how it's going to impact you.
Yeah, sure. So last but not least, how does your cybersecurity posture looks like now, and what are your priorities in next 1 or 2 years?
So if I talk about Microsoft, yes, we have started an initiative called Secure Future Initiative, SFI. And as a part of SFI, we are following the 3 core principles: secure by design, secure by operation, and secure by default in no particular order. And there are 6 pillars which we are focusing on, just to name few, such as isolation of our network, focusing on identity security, monitoring of threat, how quickly we are informing our customers on particular incidents. So that's a multiple year project, or you could say initiative we are working on, and we are driving that initiative at a very fast pace with the right governance structure. So we have set up a right governance structure within Microsoft, like having a global CISO, and we have 8 different deputy CISO who reports to global CISO, each from each product team. So removing the silos from various product environment and making sure everyone understand the responsibility of security, because security is a team sports, as we see. So everyone is responsible for security within Microsoft, and we all are aware about our SFI initiative, or Secure Future initiatives, and we are continuously improving our security in alignment with those core 3 principles which I spoke about.
Sure. Thank you so much, Abbas, for sharing such valuable insights with us today. It's inspiring to hear your thoughts on the evolution of cybersecurity risk management and the future trends we should all be watching closely.
Thank you. My pleasure. And thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you to our viewers for joining us on this episode of Cyberwatch. Stay tuned for more expert conversations on CXO TV. Until next time, stay informed and stay secure. Thank you.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.